instincts of a 10-ton rollover accident in the Parwan province of Afghanistan in 2004. He emerges and returns to the States with an even more enduring tale of perseverance. As he navigates the troubled water of the VA system, he gains a new perspective that he'll share with you. With a fever of enthusiasm to all patriots,
You're about to listen to me, Sergeant Dave, the host of the Remember the Fallen show, where you will be listening to my guests, jarheads, squids, wingnuts, ground pounders, and an occasional coastie. Maybe not. But most of all, you guys, patriots that get a lump in your throat when you hear the national anthem being played at a ball game. You see, one of us can be run off, two of us can be disregarded, but a show's audience, together we are a movement. This is the Remember the Fallen show with Sergeant Dave and KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. I'd like to give a special shout out to KLRN Radio for allowing the Remember the Fallen show to launch on such a significant date. It was such a special significance that President Trump last year signed it into the law, the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act of 2017, establishing National Vietnam War Veterans Day that will henceforth be celebrated every March 29th. This March 29th will be the first anniversary of the new law, which is today. And across the nation, Americans are uniting to thank and honor these veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice. Spearheading this effort is the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration Office, in which Never Forgotten Memorials is a commemoration partner. It wasn't until I embraced and cried over and handed out over 400 Vietnam veterans lapel pins, and during these handing them out, that I got more involved in how heroic these men were. With that being said, I would like to read a portion of the proclamation that I handed out at multiple events for the United States of America Vietnam War Commemoration Office by the President of the United States. As we observe the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, we reflect with solemn reverence upon the valor of a generation that served with honor. We pay tribute to more than 3 million servicemen and women who left their families to serve bravely, a world away from everything they knew and everyone they loved. From the Ai Drang to Ken San, from Hu Hui to Saigon, and countless villages in between, they pushed their jungles and rice paddies, heat and monsoon, fighting heroically to protect the ideals we hold dear as Americans. Through more than a decade of combat, over air, land, and sea, these proud Americans upheld the highest traditions of our armed forces. As a grateful nation, we honor more than 58,000 patriots, their names etched in black granite, who sacrificed all they had and all they would ever know. We draw inspiration from the heroes who suffered unspeakably as prisoners of war, yet who returned home with their heads held high. We pledge to keep faith with those who were wounded and still carry the scars of war, seen and unseen. With more than 1,600 of our service members still among the missing, we pledge as a nation to do everything in our power to bring these patriots home. In the reflection of the wall, we see the military families, members, and veterans who carry a pain that may never fade. May they find peace in knowing their loved ones endure, not only in medals and memories, but in the hearts of all Americans who are forever grateful for their service, valor, and sacrifice. In recognition of a chapter in our nation's history that must never be forgotten, let us renew our sacred commitment to those who answered our country's call in Vietnam and those who awaited their safe return. Beginning on Memorial Day 2012, the federal government will partner with local governments, private organizations, and communities across America to participate in the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, a 13-year program to honor and give thanks to a generation of proud Americans who saw our country through one of the most challenging missions we have ever faced. While no words will ever be fully worthy of their service, nor any honor truly befitting their sacrifice, let us remember that it is never too late to pay tribute to the men and women who answered the call of duty with courage and valor. Let us renew our commitment to the fullest possible accounting for those who have not returned. On the first anniversary of the new law, we will not be divided. We will be united, and let us strive to live up to the example by showing our Vietnam veterans, their families, and all who have served the fullest respect and support of a grateful nation. The United States would not long exist were it not for their selfless commitment to service. Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it. We're talking about the ultimate sacrifice, and over 58,000 of them did it in the Vietnam War, gave their life for our freedom, which reminds me of the Bible verse, John 15:13. No greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. In Psalm 23:4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. This verse will always remind me there are no atheists in foxholes. Right when it's going to be a few bar, foxtrot up beyond all repair, we look up to the sky and say, God, if you let me live this one last time, I will become baptized, born again, respect my first lieutenant, and so on. So, for all you new listeners, in which every single one of you are, this is the Remember the Fallen show with Sergeant Dave. And on occasion, I will drop the F bomb like they dropped the Agent Orange in the jungles of Vietnam. Oh, yeah, I will go there, but not during the opening ribbon dog and pony show right now. But in short, there was a shit sandwich that we are still taking a bite of today. The government and our Agent Orange victims out there. Okay, so I will make a whole when it comes to our veterans. Consequently, let's talk about the future of the show and what segments to anticipate. Now, first three, not in any order. Remember the fallen, what we carry, the hidden scars of soldiers when they come back from overseas. Remember the fallen, policing of our veterans, the Vietnam, Korea, Gulf War veterans. Remember the fallen, the FUBAR of Agent Orange, and occasionally the bullet points of Judicial Watch. We'll be watching over the burn pits, the next Agent Orange. We're checking out Homeland Security. We'll hear from jarheads, squids, wingnuts, ground pounders, and coasties. And hopefully, we will talk to butter bars, officers, and PFCs, which stands for service members that are perfect for cleaning, and specialists in the National Guard that are called the Underground Mafia, and once again, the Devil Dogs. The Germans called us, and the Marines in World War One, and then the Lance Criminal, third lowest rank in Marine Corps, and then the Lance Corporal Underground, what the junior enlisted are saying behind the full bird, right? A Sierra bird. You notice when I use the military phonetic alphabet in Bravo Tango Whiskey, by the way, I expect the followers of the show to know the military phonetic alphabet. After about the sixth show, I'll be covering up certain detractable words in replace of the alphabet, all the way from Alpha to Zulu. So if you ever wanted to be squared away customer service wise, if you know the phonetic alphabet, you just got a raise. So I just want to let you know, you don't have to be a veteran to listen to the show, just a patriot, because on the seventh segment, you will know what I mean when I say Bravo Sierra, and you'll know what I mean when I say Foxtrot Tango Whiskey, and you'll know what I mean when I say Bravo Zulu. You know, all this without having a drill sergeant humiliate the foxtrot out of you and I will really use this topic for another segment about my drill sergeant. But back to the composition of the show. To make this an oorah of a show, not a of a show, I will need audience participation. So to raise the bar of the show, I will need you guys to listen and email me at sergeantdave@klrnradio.com. Once and again, email me at sergeantdave@klrnradio.com for topics, bullet points, patriotic concerns. My co-host is Big B, Guam Marine. Yeah, I got me as a jarhead. Yeah, he served from 73 to 77, 2 years of sea duty from February 74th to February 76. He was involved in the evacuation of Saigon. That is intense. So, Big B, what is the most comical situation in that time frame? Because, we're going to be getting into some factual details with Agent Orange and dioxin, so that could be pretty mundane. So let's start off the show with some humor.
Hey everyone, Big B here. Big thing that happened to us on Guam was during the evacuation. We're already in the camps setting up tents, and anyway, captain of the ship. Well, let me back up. There was a photograph taken that went around the world, and it shows myself and another Marine. We're running, okay? And I mean, we're in the byline under it says, "Marines scramble to assemble tents." Or to set up tents. And this is at the Rhodey Point refugee camp on Guam. Anyway, now anybody that's been in the tropics knows that you don't run unless it's an absolute emergency, okay? Or, in this case, the beer truck. We were running for the beer truck, okay? And because captain of the ship, he's taking care of, the sailors and Marines. And again, that was one of the funniest things. I showed people a photograph, the newspaper clipping, and it says Marines scramble to set up tents. And you can clearly see it's me because I'm wearing a big old brush hat, boonie hat, and I'm the only one in that whole refugee camp that had a boonie hat on. And another Marine from Chicago, he's running right there alongside me. I mean, it's funny, but you get this big, serious byline. It's the Marines scramble to set up tents. We're running for the beer truck, man. Okay? Anyway, here's Dave back.
That sounds like an emergency to me, Big B. All right, Big B. We're going to get into some really factual stuff. Big B's been to Washington, D.C. He was there for 2 weeks with some really pioneers, John Wells. And I'm going to let Big B kind of handle that segment of the show because he was boots on the ground in D.C. for 2 weeks. He went door to door talking to congressional delegates and just doing the work that a lot of people are not doing out there. So that's why I picked him be my co-host, because what he's doing, he's actually talking the walk. He is doing it all right now for appropriations for our military veterans, health issues, and compensation. So, Big B, I'm going to hand it back over to you. If you can tell me a little bit about John Wells, Mike Little, and that group you went to Washington, D.C. with, and how you're on top of things right now with all the compensation that's going on. Here you go, Big B.
Okay, what's going on in D.C., or I should say, let me back up a little bit. I've been to D.C. 3 times. The first time I went was in August. That was myself and Commander John Wells, who was also, a retired U.S. Navy commander, but he's also an attorney. Now, I want to set the record straight when it comes to Commander John Wells. He was a real officer, okay? He was a CO of a ship. He wasn't a desk jockey with a JAG unit, okay? He is the real deal. He worked his way through night school, and I believe 4 weeks before he retired from the Navy is when he got his law degree. So, I mean, again, he's the real deal. He started off as an engineering officer. Now, Mike Little, okay, he is an Afghan Iraq vet, and he was at Abu Ghraib prison when the major breakout in the battle took place there. He is also a burn pit victim, and he also suffers from a TBI. Okay. Now, another good friend of mine who's up in D.C., actually there's 2 more that are up there, is Robert Fink. Okay, he's out of Mississippi. Now, Robert Fink, he in turn was one of the men who actually sprayed Agent Orange up on Anderson Air Force Base. Okay, and then my brother Marine, who he and I went through firefighting school up at Anderson, up there, which was heavily contaminated. In fact, one of the most contaminated spots on the planet, where dioxin levels were found at 19,000 parts per million. We trained on that spot. We had to go through firefighting school. And again, walking and working the hallways of Congress is it's a process. And I want to say something right now, about the sound bites that we see on TV. They're made to get you angry. I mean, they're running sound bites out there, and when you sit down with these individuals or their aides and actually explain to them what's going on, they do not know. We are up there educating them. It does take, we're not getting paid to do this. I mean, everything we're doing is coming out of our own pocket. And, again, being a retired deputy out of Wyoming, you don't get all that much, plus Social Security checks and all that hot either. But, again, getting to D.C. And just working it. I mean, you've got people who have come right on board. I mean, you tell them, this is what's what. Give them your information. By information, I'm talking. I've handed out CDs. I don't know how many CDs I've handed out with documents from Dow Chemical, Monsanto, EPA reports, Guam EPA reports, World Health Organization reports that show that dioxin levels through blood draws are higher in people on Guam than they are in Saigon. Now, what is wrong with this picture? Plus, found out, and again, I've got photographs. I went through my photograph albums, and I found, here's me, and I showed that to Sergeant Dave here, photograph of me walking up that was taken by my buddy, Sergeant Major Jim Kiken, who, he's another story, but he was behind me. I threw him the camera. He snapped a picture of me walking up this cut, going up to Mount Tenyo Vista on Guam. Everything to the left and everything to the right is green. I'm walking up a spot that's brown. Now, Mother Nature does not do anything in a straight line that is brown. And this is on Navy property, and of course, I've got the documentation to back it up. But the major thing is we've got veterans, tens of thousands of veterans, who are being denied compensation when we know for a fact this isn't a presumptive issue. This is a known fact. We have been exposed. We have been contaminated. There are only 2 fresh water supplies on the island of Guam, and they have both tested positive for 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T, and 2,4,5-TP, which are all known dioxin carriers of dioxin that have been banned around the world, but yet the government says we're not exposed, or they refuse to acknowledge us. Let's put it that way. They are turning their backs on us. Well, guess what? No, we have gotten a bill introduced. Now is we were interviewed by Steve Andrews out of WFLA, Florida, out of Tampa Bay, St. Pete area, the Channel 8, if I'm not mistaken. And also we met with, and I do know the man who did the majority of the spraying. His name is Master Sergeant Leroy Foster, and he is a brilliant man. I respect him. I admire him. I mean, he is the one who brought me in. Now, bear in mind, I'm a retired deputy, and I've been a skeptic, okay? I'm the doubting Thomas. You got to show me, okay? I want the proof. You're telling me something, okay? I'm from Missouri. You got to show me, all right? He laid out everything, okay? Government documents, EPA reports, the ATSDR reports, which is the American Toxicology Study for Disease Registry, okay? That is where we found out, and it's right in there. These are government documents that we're talking about. Again, Guam EPA, US EPA, ATSDR report, World Health Organization. I mean, it's there. It is there. The proof is there. But the government is turning a blind eye towards us veterans. Anyway, I'm going to kick this back over to Sergeant Dave, okay?
Now you see why I chose Big B Guam Marine, right? You're talking about experience, boots in the ground. He's from Missouri. Their catchphrase is "Show me state," right? So Michigan also, right? He's all over as well. So yeah, this is it's going on out there, and we have a team of teams out there. So we're putting together a bunch of Facebook groups right now that we're trying to synchronize with to help Brian, John Wells, Tara Doherty, also even people from Monsanto, okay? We got some players with Monsanto doing a great job. Her name is Tammy, and I'll get you all that information here shortly. But we want to continue just to bring up some stuff that's in the news as well. We're going to get back to more Agent Orange, Camp Lejeune, contamination of the government's done to our veterans. But right now we're going to touch a little segment on that things that make you say Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, right? Okay, the first Whiskey Tango Foxtrot that we're going to talk about is this editorial cartoon. It's hilarious if you look at it. It was involved in the campaign for Trump as well. Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her up, right? Well, it shows her, what she's done, and no one's, everybody's turning their eye, like the VA does to veterans. So also, Congress and the big players that are in the administration, the prior administration, we got it for perjury, we got it for illegal, unencrypted private server with classified material, pay for play, her Clinton Foundation, 33,000 missing emails, destruction of evidence. It shows her smashing cell phones, 7 cell phones, bleaching up her server, and it shows her drinking wine like she did on Air Force One as she was flying all over the world on our tax dollars. It looks like she drank a lot of wine. It shows that, and I'm going to turn it over to Big B real quick. He's going to explain to you what's on the other side of the cartoon where it shows machine mate Christine Saucer, what happened to him, because he's one of those Marines. What's the best part about a Marine? Hi, a submarine, right, Brian? Okay, so he is basically he is in jail. This machinist mate took a picture of a selfie on his submarine, and they locked him up for something as minor as that. And then you got Hillary on the other side. Just, Big B, you know a little bit more about that. I'm going to turn it over to Big B on this, and just explain to me, how does that happen? How does she get away with all this?
Well, it's simple for me. Okay, number one, you got an enlisted man, okay? Did he screw up? Absolutely, okay? He took that selfie. It is in a restricted area because, let's face it, from aft to bow, anything on a submarine is classified, if not top secret, because again, you're carrying special weapons, you've got the nuclear propulsion units, you've got everything on there. You name it, it's there. Yeah, he screwed up. If anything, I'd have busted him and kicked him off the boat. Okay, you're no longer a submariner. But again, when on a positive note, just a few days ago, President Trump did pardon machinist mate Christian Saucier, and he's free. The only thing I would like to see happen, and we don't know, at least I don't know anything about what type of discharge did he receive. Okay, did he get an undesirable, a bad conduct? Again, having been on sea duty, and the ship that I was assigned to, USS Proteus, was submarine tender. So I came in very close contact, and I know what was down in those subs. But again, we really can't talk about even now. We all know what they do, but at the same time, we don't know. With that said, I think there's, the little guy, there's a different set of rules. Okay, you got those who are in the hierarchy, the privileged, and then it's almost like the caste system in India. You got those who are or on the plantation. You got the plantation master, which would be Hillary, and then there's us. The field hands, and that might be a poor example. And if I offended anybody, I apologize. But again, you have two sets of people here. You got the privileged, then you got the common working guy, us, all right, the grunts, the ones who actually do the heavy lifting, while those are up at the top saying, oh, you got to do this or you got to do that. Anyway, here's the boss back.
All right, that brings me up about we're working on President Trump right now on pardoning Clint Lawrence. Okay, Clint Lawrence is serving time in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and I actually have his address, which we're writing to him right now, keeping his spirits up. Clint made the call on the Afghan hills in the Parwan province area, where we had a bunch of motorcyclists come towards him, and he made the decision because 2 weeks prior, the same situation happened where motorcyclists came up close to the forward observation base, and they shot and took down the leader of that base. Well, all of a sudden, the leader had to step down, and Clint Lawrence shows up. He's only a first lieutenant. His young is 26 years old, and he gets, within 3 days of his being the commander of this FOB, wouldn't you know, another 2 motorcycles come up, and he had to make a split decision. He made that split decision was to take him out. Yep, and both of them were taken out. They were killed, and Obama's administration went ahead and locked this soldier up who was protecting his constitutional rights, protecting his officers, his soldiers, doing the right thing that any of us would have called. And we're going to be talking later on in other shows about Clint Lawrence, but his address is Clint Lawrence, prison number 93197, 1300 North Warehouse Road, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas 66027, and you can go to United American Patriots. They're behind that. Go on Facebook to see that page. We'd love to see you send a letter out to Clint. I've actually know his mother, Ann Lawrence, as well. Okay, the next segment of what things that make you say whiskey, tango, foxtrot is the cost of the border wall. Now, just recently, President POTUS was down near Texas, and he was looking at prototypes of the border wall, which was pretty awesome. It was just in the news yesterday, and he wants see-through. He doesn't want concrete, which makes a lot of sense, and he wants it deep. He wants it deep enough so they can't dig underneath, but he wants to see through it. Somehow you want to see the immigrants on the other side, the illegal aliens trying to come. So we don't want anybody climbing over, so he wants it tall. But right now, the cost of the border wall would only be $10 billion. $10 billion, that's it. The annual cost of illegal immigration is $99 billion a year, folks. So what part of that math do you not understand? We need to support the wall. It's as simple. It's either yes or no. We are supporting the wall. Do you want any take on that, Brian? Or you want to move on to the next one? Okay, here's Brian. Big B.
Okay, here's something that that I have an issue with. Okay, my concern is veterans. That comes first and foremost. Yeah, I have the blinders on, but to take care of 140,000 Blue Water Navy veterans and Guam veterans combined for 1 year would cost $1.8 billion. $1.8 billion. Okay, because again, I know of veteran sailors who have come down with, believe it or not, breast cancer, testicular cancer, penile cancer. You've got the colorectal cancers. You've got all the weird stuff that doesn't run in people's families. On the Facebook page that we have, I have had numerous veterans get on there and say, this stuff doesn't run in my family. What's going on here? Same thing with women. I mean, the women that have been on Guam, they're going through hell. That's the only way to describe it. I mean, a lot of them, by the time they're 35, they've already had to have complete hysterectomies, double mastectomies, their thyroid glands removed because, again, cancer. And again, and those who have, multiple miscarriages, and or if they've given birth, babies have spina bifida. They've got this, they've got that, born with holes in their hearts and things like this. The thing is with Guam is that cancer rate on Guam alone is 4 times higher than the U.S. national average. We're talking about an island that's the size of Tucson, Arizona. And I'm going to kick it back over to the boss here.
I told you he's passionate. What's that have to do with the wall, Brian?
Not a thing.
Okay, he's a passionate guy. It's the cost. Okay.
Again, we got $99 billion going here, and there's a cost factor. Okay, if you're going to incarcerate or whatever, medical bills, whatever it may be. But what about the wall? We need to have a secure border. But what about taking care of the veterans who put their lives on the line, and at the same time we're being ignored?
Hoorah on that. I got you, Brian, there. I got you back on that one, definitely. I agree on that. Okay, the next one, is basically Trump's approval ratings, how CNN and the fake news are trying to pull him down. Well, guess what? He's up and running. Its rates is going up, not soaring up, but they're slowly, gradually going up. And it's just going to be a matter of time. He took on a lot coming into office. Look at the administration before him, okay? He is cleaning up, and it's going to take a while. He's going to piss off some people out there, which he has. He's doing it his way, but he's getting things done. So we're just looking at Trump's approval ratings. It's kind of comical. It shows his arrow going up, and it shows CNN reporters holding on to the arrow, trying to pull it down.
Now, you won't see this in the media. Our POTUS, President of the United States, on his watch, we have 155 million currently employed, the most in the history of the United States. Now, that is one amazing milestone.
What a turnaround from the last administration. But you won't hear that on fake news because they would rather pour fuel on the Russian collusion. The fake news has their very own burn pit, and the fumes are disenchanting the American people. Well, it's that time for Rack Ops. Zero Dark 30 for the show. Stay tuned for next Thursday for the hashtag Remember the Fallen show with Sergeant Dave. We'll have Chaplain Kathy from Wounded Times on talking about the conundrum of Kill 22, hashtag PTSD. Remember now, you can reach out to me on my Twitter handle at David Matthews at Heroic Memorials or email me at sergeantdave@klrnradio.com. Pop Smoke out.